right, welcome to the Early Educator podcast. We talk about everything that you need when it comes to growing your business, overcoming obstacles, and making an impact on not only the children in your care, but to your community and your family. My name is Blake, and with me today, we have Philip Hester, the president of Our Daily Bread CACFP, and we also have Julia Clark with today, who is with Childcare Tennessee. She's the regional coordinator for the Northeast. Julia, thank you so much for joining us today. And how are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Doing good. Awesome. Well, excited to
Sun
talk to
is
you guys.
shining today, so I'm doing fantastic.
Yes, I
Been a
know.
lot of days.
Yeah, definitely. Having the sun out is a huge thing. These past 2 weeks, it's been like a lot of just rain and muck, like every single morning. It's been cold. And so, yeah, it's really nice to see the sun come back out for sure. How is it where you are, Julie? Is it the same way?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I live just west of Nashville, and so it is. It's really nice, and yeah, it's nice to be able to get the kids outside and everything too. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah. So thank you guys so much for being here. Also, Cinta might join in with us later, so you might hear Cinta, or if you're watching on YouTube, you might see her come in the shot. So hopefully, we'll see Cinta later on too. But yeah, so basically, we wanted to ask Joy just a few questions, just about who she works for and all the benefits of that. Just so we think our educators could definitely potentially benefit from this. And so, yeah, Julia, just to ask you first question, can you talk to us kind of about like the initiatives and the programs offered by Childcare Tennessee to support early childhood education and the daycare owners in the region?
absolutely. So Childcare Tennessee, we are an initiative of the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. And so how we started was a group of childcare directors in Nashville approached the Community Foundation regarding having a one-stop sort of website for childcare providers throughout the entire state, where they could go and find resources that all of us had to look at every day. So I was a director myself for over 20 years. And so there's things that we all have to have. There's no point in reinventing the wheel. But also, they wanted to be able to empower program directors throughout the state, whether you had a family, a group home, a center, nonprofit, whatever the program is that you were operating, that you would have access to the same resources. So whether we have curriculum, we have all of those, we have human resources, there's all kinds of templates and forms that we have. So, and the amazing thing is the Community Foundation took up the charge. Now, usually, in fact, never does the Community Foundation spend money like that, their own money, because our job is to take resources and match them to need. So we help other people spend their money. And for us to empower, so it was just amazing. And it's been a huge benefit to programs throughout the state. Our intent is to help elevate the quality of care that all children receive. And DHS, just about 3-4 years ago, before that, it was a subscription that programs would have to pay. DHS approached us 4 years ago and said, we want to make this available to all programs throughout the entire state. So it's a part of a grant, and DHS now pays the subscription for all child care providers to have it that are DHS licensed.
Wow. That's pretty great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I guess with that, how can daycare owners access like funding and different resources to help them grow their business or help them like sustain it?
Yeah. So there's some really great resources that child care providers can take advantage of. The number one that I would encourage them to is their certificate program. We're always looking for opportunities to generate revenue. Enrollment generates revenue. Okay. So the best way they can do that is to enroll in the certificate program, because that is income you're going to receive. Takes a while to get it all going. We know that there's paperwork involved, all that kind of stuff, but it is guaranteed income once you get it rolling. And so that's a great opportunity. Also, with what we do at the Community Foundation, part of what we do is we manage grant funds for the Department of Human Services. So grants are wonderful. They help elevate, again, the quality of care that a program can have. It can launch you years ahead in the quality of program that you can build on. Okay, you can use the resources for equipment, materials, supplies, for training of your staff, all of those sort of things. But there again, it's not consistent, continual enrollment, revenue from enrollment, but it is huge. It's a huge asset. So Childcare Tennessee will help you do that.
Hey, Blake,
yeah,
I got a question. If I could step back to number one. I know you talked a little bit about enrollment, Julia. And with the enrollment, I know there's, we have thousands of licensed educators in Tennessee. Roughly what percentage are actually taking advantage of Childcare TN at this point, or Childcare Tennessee?
Well, this is the amazing thing. And unfortunately, COVID helped a lot with this. We're running about 98%.
Oh, wow. That is impressive.
Yes, we're running about 98% enrollment. Now, when you think about that, the reason a lot of that is that now we're on our 4th year now with the grants and everything, is that people are using these resources on a day-to-day basis. They're seeing the value of what's there. They also, for the support and enhancement grant, this is your portal to applying for that grant. So in order to be able to apply for that, you have to have Childcare Tennessee membership. So yeah, but it is wonderful. It's a great resource to have out there.
Fantastic. Those are great numbers.
Yes.
I'm so excited to hear that. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's fantastic. 90%. That's quite a bit. I mean, that's basically everybody. Basically.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Well, you think about it with the emergency grants, when they needed that emergency funds during COVID, that really was a great catalyst for us for enrollment.
Yeah, definitely. So could you share some insights with us on like the current challenges and maybe like opportunities that are currently facing daycare owners, and kind of how you guys are able to help to address them mainly?
Absolutely. So as I'm out in the East Tennessee, especially, but also in addition to being the Northeast Regional Coordinator, I'm also the Establishment and Expansion Grant Coordinator for the entire state. So one of the things that I'm really seeing, is I'm sure everybody hears, is staffing. Staffing is the number one issue that people are really struggling with, regardless of the region that they're in. And so I'm just going to share with you just a second my screen, because I'd like you to see, once a program has membership to Childcare Tennessee, which if you're a licensed childcare program, you would have access to this through the Department of Human Services. But I'm going to show you, as we scroll down, this is our home landing page. As you scroll down, these are some of the topics that you can hop on, just a quick resource. But as you scroll down, our staffing resources that we have here are amazing. And I hear all the time when I'm out and talking to programs how helpful this is. It saves them a ton of money, and I'm going to show you how. And so for one thing, they can see here, these are actual postings. So it's really helpful because they can look, they can see what other people are posting. They can see how much they're paying for salary. They can see what their benefits are. They can look at the job descriptions. Then all they have to do is click on there and they're able to see it. All right, now I'm going to show you how do they gain access to this service. All they have to do is click on the services. It'll take you right to our services page. All right, you scroll down. Now, these are just some of the benefits. It's free to post. All right. Now, when I was a director, and man, I was bleeding indeed, all those sort of things, because it is, there's a lot of turnover and that sort of thing. And if you're not hiring, you're behind, because you should always be in a position of hiring. Then you have 8 job boards that you're being posted to. All right. You're able to, you show up in Google results. Huge. Okay.
Yep.
Job description templates. So that's something I'm always talking to providers about, is if you're not using the right kind of bait, you're not going to get the right kind of fish. So they need to be sure that they're putting out ads that are accurate. And then online applications. Okay. So there's all kinds of stuff. They can just scroll through here. And then this is where they register. Again, this is Acquire for Hire, and it is completely free with our resources. The other thing here, and I hear this from families and things as well, is that they are affordable childcare. So there again, Department of Human Services with their certificate program really helps families that maybe they're in an area that they're just priced out of the market. But if a programs are offering their certificate program, if a family can qualify, then that really helps. Also with these grants, if we can help keep some of the program costs down, because they're not having to buy art supplies, they're not having to buy the equipment, they're not having to buy mulch for the playgrounds every year. Maybe they can help. It can help offset some of those operation expenses and keep the enrollment costs down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about staffing. And Julia, like you said, that is number one. It's right their biggest pain point. The majority of our childcare educators. And with this resource, I think it's just fantastic, because we deal with a lot of sole proprietorships. And, those are your, what some people it's not like a chain childcare. It's more of what some people may call mom and pop business.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they find it hard at times to compete with a lot of the chain childcare educators. And I think that this is a great tool for our licensed childcare facilities to take advantage of these and find that talent that's out there. Because, as we all know, people get into care because they love children, and that's why they're in the business. So I think these resources would be very helpful to our sole proprietorships, because some of our educators are licensed daycare homes. They may be as small as a capacity of 7 or up to maybe 15. And so this would really level that playing field with a lot of those educators to be able to participate. So I love this tool. I think it's great. And that, can definitely, you can kind of see where the market is. That's what I love about this tool, because everybody, that's one of the things. I just can't compete. I can't pay. Well, now where these jobs are landing. So I just love it. I think it's fantastic. Also, affordable childcare. You had mentioned that as well. A lot of parents aren't really aware of some of the criteria. That to me, a lot of just like in our program, there's income eligibility guidelines. Those are fairly high. People would be shocked to know that they may qualify and just never thought to take a look at it. So there's nothing at all wrong with just exploring the criteria to be met for child care certificate program or to participate on the child adult care food program. So feel free to, all the parents that are out here listening, by all means, get out there and explore that. You'd be surprised. You may fall within those guidelines. For sure, educators, encourage your parents to explore the options for child care certificate program. Thank you, Julia, for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. One other thing that I didn't mention before is that on Childcare Tennessee too, we also have our savings program with our vendors. So we're always looking to negotiate discounts for vendors. So like when made me think about it when you were talking about our smaller programs that don't necessarily, they're not able to take advantage of the discounts that maybe large franchises can get. Where they negotiate the cost of their milk because they're buying, they have bulk contracts that they do and things. So we're always working to negotiate contracts, discounts for our vendors. Again, that's on Childcare Tennessee under the Saving Monies tab. And, always we're looking for local vendors to save on costs that are standard for childcare operations. Mm-hmm.
That's great. So you said that was childcaretennessee.com, right?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you are listening and if you're on a Apple Podcast or whatever, be sure to check that out. If you didn't see it on YouTube, definitely check the website out. That was some great resources. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So yeah. So I guess we'll go to the next question. So I guess, is there any kind of success stories that you guys have working with daycares or anybody else that's partnered with you guys that you like to share?
Well, we have some really great partnerships with some of our local partners. So for instance, like our economic development partnership, we've been working with, they have a new grant out that's called the CDBG grant. Of course, they always have to have the alphabet in there somewhere, but
of course,
just thrown in. But what that grant does is that it actually helps with facility costs for building, remodeling, and renovations for programs that are looking to open or programs that are looking to expand their capacity. Now they have different caps and things in different areas, and that this grant will go until the end of July this year, and hopefully we'll have another one. But when you think about how that partnership works, is that if a program can use the CDBG grant to help with their facility costs to either open their program or to expand their facilities, and then we at the Childcare Tennessee can assist them in applying for the establishment or the expansion grant, which will provide their equipment, materials, and supplies. So if we can get that facility, then we can get it fitted out, then that's great for the communities.
Yeah, that is.
What would be some criteria for that, Julie?
For the CDBG grant? So, basically, they're going to the program with Economic Development Group and request information. So right now that process is closed. When that reopens, which I don't have an exact date on that yet. I know this cycle runs until the end of July this year. But when the next one would open, then they would be able, and it would be posted. It is sent out to programs that are like, they would know. Okay, so it's a great opportunity for them to be able to, and it's just an application process. They require a lot of information from you and some meetings and that sort of thing, but the benefits of it are huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as far as record keeping, that's one of the things that we definitely stress with a lot of our educators. It's so important to have great record keeping. I know with our Daily Bread, we of the records that they send and submit to us, we have all their records for 3 years plus the current year at all times. So that is one thing that, for the educators that participate on our program, know that we have those records. A portion of what you've submitted to us, we will have those records for 3 years plus. So, and I'm sure a lot of times with grants, they at least want you to go back a couple years. So if you're ever in need of any of those records, just know that you need to have real good records on hand, at least for 2+ years. You know, for a minimum of 2 years. You know, to apply for grant for the most part. That's one of the benefits too of participating on our Daily Breads program as well. We do keep those records for you.
Well, and I'm sure that you probably see too, we're wanting to really encourage childcare programs to take it up to that next level, the level of professionalism, and record keeping is definitely a part of that. You'd be surprised how many programs I go to and I'm talking to them about receipts because they have to keep those and submit those for their grants. How many say they do not use their receipts? They don't deduct these at costs. And so we're working to help them with that. Because, you know, it's silly to pay tax money on something you've already, you used for expenses for your program. So there again, resources that we're using. One, we have a tab on our website that talks about all of our partners. So there again, when you're talking Tech Goes Home or Wages Program or our Daily Bread are on our website. And that way it is a one-stop thing. They just click on it and it'll take them right to where they need to go to have access to those resources.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Well, I had another question. We kind of already answered it. Basically talking about what kind of role you guys play and make sure the daycare owners are able to give like quality early childhood education. But I think we've kind of already answered that and how you guys play that role. But is there anything else that you, Philip, or Julia would like to want to talk about or ask?
I do. A lot of times with especially new educators that are coming on or coming into childcare, maybe opening up a center or maybe a family home. A lot of times the perception of childcare is the regulation is very rigorous. And a lot of people, they would start an orientation process and kind of get a little frustrated along the way, with maybe some of the regulation. Do you guys experience much of that to where people just kind of, they find it a little frustrating to step into the role of a childcare owner?
Yeah, so that is a big issue that we have. One of the things is I really like that DHS has really created a path to licensing. And so that helps to kind of, because a lot of people, when they start out, they're just like, I just love kids and I just want to work with kids and I just want to, but owning a business is a lot of responsibility. And if they having an understanding of what all is going to go into that. Loving children has to be at the core value of it, but operating a childcare business is a whole nother animal. And so when they come from orientation, they go through licensing orientation, then they go through Small Business Academy, which I think is very wise for DHS to do that because it's a 4-class deal. And so then they're having to go through and figure out, oh, well, you mean I just don't get to rock babies and do crafts all day? It's a totally different thing. They're figuring out that. And then it's the cost. It is, the cost of having your own business, being able to pay staff and, like you're saying, keep your records and to having staff and all of those sort of things. So they go from Small Business Academy. And then it's about, after that, it drops off. Once people kind of realize, if they're not really prepared at that time to move on. So that's why as well, the establishment grant is for pre-licensed programs, but they have to complete all the licensing steps up into the point of opening the building before they become eligible to apply for the establishment grant. But that makes perfect sense because the majority of people that start this path never actually open a program. So we don't want to give them money for a program they're not actually ever going to operate. So it's once they've gone through, they've got their facility, they've got their just about ready to get their license. They've got their occupancy permit, their background checks and everything, and then they're ready to open their business. I also spend a considerable amount of time trying to provide them the supports that we have through Childcare Tennessee, helping them with the HR, the templates, the forms, everything that they need, helping them with staffing, how to train their staff and prepare them to open their programs. It is a daunting experience. I opened my last program in 2018, and that was from a ground up build. And so it's a pretty big deal to try and get through all that. But yeah, you have a lot of people that don't actually go through, but I'm glad that they have this process to begin with, because it is really hard on children and families for a program to open and then turn around and close. Mm-hmm. And we want to be sure they have all the supports they need to be successful.
And, it is such a great advantage to go through this program and go through this cycle. Like you said, it can be daunting, but it is so important because it gives, in my opinion, it gives you a leg up on other sites that, that may, like if you're a childcare home, for instance, like I gave that. I mean, now you're regulated. You've been through the business courses. You're understanding the business. You're understanding the business aspect. Yeah, you got into it because you love children, but now you have a better understanding of the business side. And then you're going to be successful, when you have all of these tools in your arsenal now. And I just think it's going to be, it's just one of those things where, it just gives you the leg up on those that maybe opted not to go through, or maybe, like grandfathered in or whatnot. I mean, I think this is awesome. Just a great opportunity for those new facilities to jump in there and to go through those steps, because it's just like anything else. The rewards will come. And it's like myself. I've coached football years ago, and I coached even at a high school level, and a lot of people were like, "Well, how were you a good coach?" I'm like, well, I won't know until 10 to 15 years from now whether I was a good coach. It's not about the wins and losses. It's just like the day-to-day in childcare. It's not about, your struggles or your wins in the day-to-day, the impact that you're having on the children and families that you serve. When that kid comes back 20 years later and comes in and gives you a big hug and said, "Hey, remember me? I was in your preschool class," or I was in your facility from an infant to 5, and you see where they've, they're walking through life. They have families of their own now, and now, like some of the kids I coached in high school, I see them that, they have families, and, that is validation that work. I didn't make much money at it. It wasn't about the money aspect of it. It was about the love for the children and the rewards that come with that. So years later tells whether or not you were a good educator, whether or not you were a good coach of some sort. So it's just great to see that, the growth of the kids, and just the love that you have for the kids, to see that reward on the back end. So,
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I started out in 1996. That dates me a little bit, with a family program. It quickly became a group home, and I had it for 14 years while I was raising my children. And I'll tell you what, it's the best job I ever had. I loved those kids, and they loved me, and their families loved me. And in fact, in June, I flew to Michigan to go to a graduation open house. So they invite me to come, I'm going, but I think you hit on something there too. Any great investment, it's a long term. You have to, it's not quick results. It's not quick, it's long term. And but it is amazing. There is nothing more valuable. There's nothing better than earning the love and trust of a child and family. There's nothing better. But there again, you'll see the long-term results for a lifetime. You're building the foundation of a successful life for those children. And to know that they were loved and cared for as little ones, they'll carry that the rest of their lives. So it's just amazing. It's amazing, but it takes a lifetime.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I can definitely, go with the long-term thing. Because there's a lot of things that can make you happy, but there's only some things that are long-term that can bring you joy and bring you actual peace, So that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But yeah, that's pretty much all the questions I had. If you guys have anything else, feel free to share them or anything. But that's all the questions that I had for today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for just talking and being so transparent with us and giving us the information about Childcare Tennessee. It's a great resource that if you're not using already, definitely recommend you use it, encourage it. And there'll also be in this video in the description on YouTube. I'll be sure to put the website as well. So if you look in the description, it'll be down in there. So you don't have to go searching for it. And so yeah, again, thank you so much, Julia, for joining us. Philip, as always, thank you for popping in. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next podcast. And have a great rest of your day.